that one, but I do know we got to get into that first game of the day. Let's start talking about it. It, of course, is PGG up against Kanga, but let's look at Kanga first because we haven't had a chance to look at him. I'm lying. Let's look at PGG first.
Stop the cap.
We'll look at Kanga in a sec. We got Chippy, Schönfire, Dongy, Violet, Nappy, and they worked so well together yesterday, making it look really damn good. And out of all the games we had, just the chemistry, especially towards that bot lane, was just fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. And I have the words to describe it, the double S, super synergized for PGG. And although Chippies wasn't a part of the plays in that bot lane, he did fit relatively well into the overall game. But these dives executed by Schönfire and Dongy, and just bringing it back to Dongy, he is the perfect player in mid lane. I am so excited to see what he has for us installed for 2023 because he used to be a mid laner back in OCS. I believe it was 2020 or 2021. I could be wrong on this, but he plays a lot of Azir, and I know Skimmy's very excited for that as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Dongy in this new role, but also massive shout out to Appy, right? The fact that we've complemented his ability to play so many different roles at the highest level possible, and that Nami was landing a lot of huge bubbles in the CC, which inevitably made those crazy four-man dives actually work out. How many times did you see them all blinking on 10%? So the synergy, as you highlight there, Kitty, was phenomenal. And just another really quick game, right? They went out with a stamp of authority that, like, hey, if the Chiefs are the super team, then we're certainly here to cause a bit of havoc as well.
And look, arguably robbed in the Dare MVP yesterday because Rusty's no good at rock, paper, scissors. So
yeah, that is known.
The King
that one
fight
is known.
Remember that one. Rusty never yet has won rock,
in
paper,
my
scissors.
whole career on camera, I've lost
camera.
every single time, yeah.
Another one right now?
That's it. That's
no.
no, maybe later if we need it, But let's talk about Kanga. Rusty, tell me, what can we expect from this star-studded, well, star-led lineup? Fido, he's there in the middle and he's got a whole bunch of youngsters around him.
Yeah, it's Fido and the lads, basically, right? So this is a really exciting team to watch because they are, first of all, really strong mechanical players, but secondly, extremely young. So this is essentially a team of rookies, right, that are going to be joined by Fido, who is obviously an experienced veteran. He's come back to the competitive scene last year, so it's his second year really returning, but will be that, more calm, measured you would expect player within the team. But Blue, rank 1, I think, at 15, Kitty, is a very big carry top lane player. Mayfun does love his carries as well in jungle.
Rank 117.
Rank 117. Hooper, I told him to hit Challenger to get in the LCO. He got Challenger 4 weeks later. Like, he's just that good at the game mechanically. And Shinky as well, a young, I would say, compared to a lot of the other players in Fido in particular, still a very strong young player on this squad, which means lots of potential.
Huge.
But how do you get that potential out of these players? Because they're all young, they're all doing it at the same time. There is a lot of nerves that you'd expect going into that.
I actually can't wait to see Hooper because when he got to play those stage games last split, he definitely turned a few heads. Almost. Did he get a quad kill? He was really close to a penta.
I just remember that initial debut.
Drake.
Yeah.
I remember that debut when he subbed in for Puma, and he had that insane game of Zeri against the Direwolves. He was hiding in the Dragon Pit. If you remember, like 1v9ing, basically denying them the Dragon Soul point. He's undefeated, 4 games, 4 wins. So he's coming into this one with a point to prove that, like, yes, that was my debut. That was as a sub. Now I've got a starting roster. As you say, all these young players, unlimited potential, but I think it's all about saying, yes, we've got mechanics, just you want to try and be the star. As a coach or just whoever's involved needs to say, this is the star we're playing, right? X, Y, Z, you're going to be the engager, you're going to be the comms,
Who's going to be the
this.
tank? Who's the tank for the team? They're all carried.
We can't all be
Mayfun.
Fiora Jaxes.
Maybe,
Bit of Trundle.
Yeah, could do that. Will you play Sejuani, though?
We'll find out for today.
That's true. Even if Fido's like leading by example, he was always like one of the heavy carries as well, right? So does he have the voice in the team to say, I'm actually carrying Hooper, come on, settle down, boy.
I mean, a legitimate concern is a case of like too many cooks, right? Or like too many rooks in this case, because they're all a bunch of carry playing rookies. So like the coach's role with Kanga is crucial for their success.
I agree.
Let Kanga cook.
Let him cook.
Hold up.
Do you think they have a slightly different champ pool to what other teams are playing? Because I remember Hooper had slightly different ADCs that he was maining last year.
He was very good on all the hyper carries, like the Zeri, like the
Zeri Aphelios is what we saw
yeah,
basically.
but that just reminded me, Blue will be coming in as probably one of the best Fioras we will see in the LCO. He got to rank 1 playing a lot of Fiora and a lot of Vladimir. So that's going to be very exciting. Lots of mechanics and lots of late game carry potential.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Shirt matches the dare.
What does the dare tell you, Mac?
Blue was named after my outfit today.
The player blue.
Fun fact, the player Blue. He changed his name because he knew what I was wearing today.
Wow, that's
Is that
profound.
is that the fun fact you were
Mac,
Just didn't
expecting?
Didn't know where
can
that
you
was
do
gonna-
something for
Out of
me?
nowhere. What? What do you need? What do you need?
No, don't worry, man.
What can I
don't
do
worry.
for you?
You can't say that.
21. Can't. Don't
Oh,
worry,
no,
bro. Don't
no.
worry, bro. The moment's passed.
What did you want?
He's making a blue joke.
It's a blue joke.
It's,
You had to be there.
I think Kitty can explain it off camera.
You had to be there.
Right, I think I'm too old for that now, but I'm not too old to talk to my good friend Chippies, who we have for the pre-game interview. Chippies, tell me about yesterday. It went spectacularly. You got that dub. What's it feel like being back in the Rift?
Yeah, it feels really good. I'd say coaching for a year, your life is more like a 5 out of 10, just real stable, but
Oh,
playing
really?
as the 10 and the 0, it's way more fun.
5 out of 10. Well, I hope you were feeling a 10 out of 10 for that win last night with PGG. And I guess my question is, we have such new players coming in for 2023. Which player really stood out to you from day one?
Wait, say again, sorry?
Oh, any
it's
players
a
in
bit-
particular that stood out to you in in day one?
Schön, bro. Did you see that guy? Yeah.
Of course.
I haven't won a split without Schön, so that's the main player I was looking for to have back.
That's great because Schönfire really came in as the puppet master of PGG, and we saw a lot of those orchestrated plays through bot lane, which you were in top lane, and top lane's been a snooze fest recently, so unfortunate for that one. But I guess
Facts.
my next question is, there's a lot of star power for PG, like with you joining the team, and I believe Dongi switching to mid lane, and of course Violet RP in the bot lane, and Schön finally in that jungle. So what type of playstyle is PGG kind of for 2023?
I'd say we're pretty similar to the way the top LPL teams play. So I'd say we're super aggressive and trying to get dives off early. You won't see any passive scaling at all.
Now, what's the scrim like scenario like at the moment? Are you playing some of those PCS teams? Are you getting that practice in that we were expecting you to do, or are you still sort of just staying local until things heat up a little bit?
Because of the Lunar New Year, most of those teams took like a week off, so we had to scrim some of those boys. But I'd say starting next week, it should be almost exclusively those PCS teams.
Excellent. Well, look, we'll leave it there. Chippies, thank you for joining us. We'll let you get ready for the game. And hopefully we'll talk to one of you boys afterwards. Let's see how the game goes.
Thanks, fellas. See ya.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, it could be. I've no issue with scrimming exclusively PCS teams, but I
Yeah.
just wonder, like, we'll find out very quickly what the average team and player strength is like in terms of scrims when they verse Pensinet. Because if they come back and they suddenly look worse, right, and they've been only scrimming PCS teams, I think that speaks of itself. But, you know, there's a lot of nuance to what they're trying to do. Higher ping to both servers could be good, could be bad.
Okay. Well, Rusty.
Hey.
Do you know who won the coin toss today?
Pensinet.
Ah, you're wrong. You had a 50-50 chance and you still got it wrong. So kind of like paper, scissors, rock, huh? No, it was Kanga. They won. And they chose red side. So what are your thoughts so far? Yesterday, there was a lot of blue side dubs sort of going. Actually, no, it was 2 red side wins, wasn't it?
I think it was 50-50.
2 red side. Well, it can't be because
Chiefs
three
won on-
games.
Chiefs, oh, sorry.
Yep.
Wow.
This
That's
could
why
be
I
good.
was going to
Red.
say that too. And then I
Chiefs
was like,
won on
but I
red.
can't.
This could be
The
really good for
maths.
Kanga then. If you've got all these really mechanically gifted players, especially
would
somebody
be.
like Blue, if they want to get that counter pick in top lane to try and give them the best possible chance into an
Mhm.
absolute titan that is Chippies, then this could be the best case scenario for that.
I also need to highlight that Cassiopeia is back in meta with the Roa and Saras available. So I'm really
Not
excited to see.
Cassadine.
Yeah, not Cassadine, Cassiopeia. She is back in meta. And Fido used to be I believe, Cassiopeia not really one trick, but enthusiast alongside the
sure.
Tristana. So he has a lot of funky picks up his sleeve, and I'm watching out for that Cass snake in the mid lane.
Well-
that Cassiopeia.
I'm watching out for the Dare fan vote and what you guys think is going to happen because it's Kanga's first game. Who knows? We could have an upset on the cards because there's a lot of unknown in this Kanga roster. There's a lot of unknown on what's going to happen, how it's all going to unfold, but it's not unknown what we think of them and what we think of PGG. Let's have a look at our predictions. Has anyone gone for the Underoos? for the Kangang.
I wouldn't expect
not on this
so.
first page.
I'm pretty sure I didn't. Max is the other one? No.
No.
Okay. And Max has been co-streaming as well. I found out
Ooh,
after
nice.
the show yesterday. So all those questions that we're putting out and saying we'll get to hear that later, we can actually fire some off to him right now.
True.
And all our other wonderful co-streamers, which you can go check out. We got a fair few. I saw like at least 4 or 5 that were all doing it yesterday. Probably similar today. Usually get a lot of those guys in. So give us your predictions, co-streamers.
Why not?
Please let us know. And if not,
You reckon we can
put it on
do
Twitter anyway.
a tab for co-streamers, like next to Twitch chat?
Maybe. But look, you've just thrown
I'm just giving extra
production
work.
in the deep end.
Yeah.
Like, no, Rusty. We have specifically 6 columns. It works well.
Yep.
Shut your trap. Now, look, PGG, we've all gone for him. What percentage are we going to giving Kanga here? Do we think that they're like a 30% chance or a little bit lower?
Okay, I can give you 2 numbers.
Give me 2 numbers.
One of them is before the game starts, I think it's 90% Pentanet.
Yep.
If Kanga start and there's no nerves, then it's closer to 30%. But
Okay.
there's going to be so many
So
nerves.
best case,
promise
30%, and it relies on PGG making mistakes.
you. Well, I think it more relies on Kanga not being a nervous wreck. Because again, I can promise you for a fact they're going to be, it's going to be stressful.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm kind of basing it off PGG's performance up against GZ last night, and they're a team filled with rookies, and that's kind of what we're seeing for Kanga on day 2 as well. And let's just say Schönfire was kind of just playing his own game and really ruining Gooby's day.
Well, Gooby ain't here, but champ selected. So let's jump on into game number 1 for day number 2.
Perfect. Let's jump in. Let's see what this new look Kanga does in fact look like. Pentanet.gg, as we saw yesterday, are warmed up and ready to rock and roll. And right out the gates, it's going to be a Varus ban.
And Varus, Caitlyn also going to be taken off the cards, which does still leave the Zeri and the Lucian available. Again, interesting how this seems to keep happening. Syndra specifically taken away as well. I don't know if we saw a single Syndra pick.
No.
But it feels like a lot of these bans are very targeted and specific towards their direct opponents. The Kaseo Peo, another good example of that right
Yes.
away from Fighter. Kitty was talking about that
Absolutely.
one.
It does beg the question, right? What will Fido do? He mentioned that, there's a lot of youth around him and obviously so gifted in that regard, but we saw what he played last year and it was a ton of Vex as well as Vega from memory. So does he look to try and fill a similar role, or does he take a bit more of a back seat, something that's a little bit more passive or maybe omnipresent on the map to try and assist elsewhere? That's the big question mark for me. Vi going to be locked in here as the first pick. It's what
Ooh, the
Schönfire
confidence
played,
pick, though.
and it was really good. And that's a first rotation Fiora.
So we know, Kitty did point this out as well, but he is a very good Fiora player.
Yep.
But that is a blind Fiora just straight locked in. So that is, to me, Kanga saying in this draft, except for Mayfun, sorry about that, bud, you are getting that Sejuani.
Yeah.
We're playing so that our solo laners are comfortable. We're playing so that our new players get comfortable picks.
For sure. And I respect it, right? If you're coming into this one, there's a whole idea of what do we do to try and beat our opposition. End of the day, maybe just have comfort, have fun, and try to dismiss those nerves from that level of, the approach to the stance. He's been spamming a lot of Fiora Jace as well as GP recently in solo queue, so it's a good way to kickstart things, but the response, once again, why not? 100% present so far, the Lucian Nami once again getting played.
Yeah, but neither Zeri nor Lulu picked in the first 3 here for Kanga, which makes me think they must have a deeper champion pool into the Lucian Nami. I think you can, in reality, I think you can go like Aphelios Thresh, right, and play against a Lucian Nami. I think Aphelios can weather a lot of lanes decently well. But I'm very curious what Kanga choose to go towards. I only say that because it's Hooper, right? Loves the Aphelios, and we know that Shinky can play things like the Thresh, but Zeri's still up and available. And the fact that that was there, Pentanet actively chose the Lucian Nami, means they're comfortable with the matchup anyway. I don't know if they need to ban it. They may want to ban it just to take away a strong pick. Caitlyn Varus already gone.
Well, I like the Varus ban because you can clearly see the idea is that we want to remove as much CC as possible. If Pentanet are to be aggressive, like Chippy's mentioned, a very LPL-esque style of gameplay, be aggressive, go for dives, and a lot of that CC would obviously make it very oppressive to try and deal with and sort of escape, if you will. Wouldn't perhaps even mind the idea of an Ezreal that you highlighted, right? Be quite mobile. If a gank was to come your way, you buy ample time, more opportunity for your team to respond, and obviously your opposition has to soak up more turret shots.
Yeah, the Ezreal's a bit safer, but in terms of how it plays out the 2v2, it's going to be very skill shot relying, very skill based if you want to go toe-to-toe with them at all. That end, you've gone for the Azir, so you probably want a hyper carry or something that scales, right? That is going to be good for longer range damage. Ezreal, in a sense, is correct. in that it can do long-range damage, but it's relying on skill shots and it's not going to be as consistent as, off the top of my head, just Jinx as a champion, right? Is reliable. Aphelios is reliable because you have the ability to just auto-attack and be successful.
You certainly can. Heimerdinger as well as Ashe, a lot of poke, a lot of CC removed away, as Kang have actually removed the final 2 picks to the composition that Pentanet exactly ran last night.
And Sivir would be interesting. Zeri Lulu still up and available, right, and can fulfill the scaling carry role, but it seems like Sivir is going to be the pathway that Kanga choose to take. Hard to tell when things are locked in at the moment.
It is, it certainly is, but it does give them a wealth of mobility to press forward, right, as Sejuani prison lands, and you're just pressing forward, right, with the Azir, with the Sivir, with the Fiora potentially grouping up with the rest of the squad to pick off an angle or pick up a target. Seemingly, Jax is going to be the opposition to that to try and match them pound for pound.
I don't know how this interaction works, but I don't... Can Sivir spell shield via once the ult's already connected? Because I feel like probably not. I feel like it probably still just hits you. You need to spell shield the initial application
I would
of
have thought
it.
so, yeah. I don't know if I've ever had that interaction.
Yeah, we'll probably find out. But with that in mind, Jax picked in Skilly. Big skill matchup up there.
Yeah.
If Blue's comfortable on his Fiora pick, Chippies is comfortable with the Jax, so it will be very, very exciting to watch those two go toe-to-toe. Sejuani, very good at ganking for the melee solo laners. Not so much the Azir, right, but can work quite nicely. And I mean, even in reality, Braum to round out a comp here from Kanga could be kind of cool. This is an option, you know, but I personally, if I was to go something defensive that could roam, would even consider the Braum. And that last pick from Pentanet certainly fits the bill of things we have seen before.
Oh, I mean, this is just pure decimation once again, though. I mean, imagine a team fight. You lay down the red carpet, the tidal wave is already there, somebody gets locked in place by the assault and battery. There is just so much pain and punishment ready to come their way. Looking to be a Yuumi, so despite no Zeri, was up and available, opted for the Sivir for that scaling option instead. Yuumi is still there, and it just gives them, I suppose, that potential, well, first of all, engage option, but a lot of disengage with that final chapter.
It does, however, only really provide movement speed to get away, opposed to a dash ability, especially over walls that a Zeri can provide. So for me, looking at this, I think the Zeri makes more sense. Jax jumps on you. Sivir can press R or try and spell shield the stun, but now it becomes a skill expression, not an escape. And a lot of the time, you know, you want to be able to just get away from Jax at that time and then apply damage afterwards. So I think it's going to be a lot harder to execute with this Sivir pick. It's also not a movement speed based composition really at all. It's a Sejuani Azir. Sejuani can go forwards, is not mad at having movement speed. Azir, you know, gets something from it as well, but often wants people coming towards him, or to find flanks to be able to push people back, or wants a hyper carry to be standing behind him so that he can protect them. That's a long time away for Sivir to be able to find that point. You know, 3 items, 4 items, the natural win condition of 6 items that a Sivir has as well.
The old classic 500 CS yarn where you're saying, okay, now the Sivir is viable.
Exactly, and you're dealing with a team that you just heard from Chippy's in the interview is diving.
And they will be
playing
diving.
aggressive.
They certainly will be with the champions they've locked in, with the ability for them to be very commanding in those close quarter combat moments, be it the Dragon, be it the Herald, even perhaps the Baron. And we saw so many Barons taken at 20 minutes on the spawn. It was a phenomenal showing from them. So I'm excited to see if they can run it back at a similar affair and, you know, what really will be there for Kanga, right? Obviously, they had a chance to sit back, relax, and study the opposition in day one, so they can come into this one, and whether or not that's a blessing or a burden, does that double down on what their prep was, or was it correct in terms of their approach, or do they go into this one and say, we've got comfort, we've locked in a first pick Fiora, you know, we're going to bring it to you.
And that's what it comes down to, right? That's the identity. That is Kanga's team composition, is they built a Fiora comp. They've gone for a Sivir Yuumi that fairly safe. Sivir's got the spell shield, can just run away, can go defensive summoner spells, right, to just stay alive. The Azir, I think Azir is almost impossible to gank if he saves the Q ability. So if he just uses the Sand Soldiers to harass you like a single auto attack, it means that no one can come into mid lane and lock you down. You have too far to dash with the EQ combo. So Azir, almost impossible to kill. Sejuani is so tanky that in reality, you're not going to lock her down unless you've got a team comboing with you. The game plan's Fiora. You know, find the skill expression, find the lead, maybe camp the lane to force that lead, and then play around a split push. And the reason that I find umbrage with every Fiora composition, Skimmy, particularly here in Oceania, is I'm yet to see a team split push successfully at all. And I'm yet to see a team fight with the Fiora in contrast to that and do it successfully, because Fiora can team fight. The LPL has proven the Fiora can win lane and team fight to a win.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that work in OC, and I would say 3 years of LCO.
And I was going to say, historically speaking, looking back at the last few years, when we have seen a Fiora, right, they have grouped up and just been unable to find that angle, sort of hover around and think, I'm not really keen to be a part of that. They get the flank angle, the team then pushes above, and the Fiora gets left for dead, right, to sort of standing there wagging their tail, wondering what could have been. So I'm really curious to see sort of what the approach is here, whether or not it will be a fully team fight built itemization of choice, or if we are going to be veering into the idea of like a hull breaker, for instance. But I guess the biggest concern is that everything yesterday was all about the Lucian combo getting ahead. Mid-game, would the better team be able to stabilize and come back? It happened a few times. But in this situation, yes, you've got a Sivir. Maybe that's going to be a case of Hooper and Shinky saying, we just want to nullify this Lucian Nami. Fiora, good luck.
I mean, that is the idea, I would say, is to nullify it. But in reality, can you nullify Schönfire as he orchestrates dives bottom lane, tells Dongi waves? Rumble is very good at roaming. Rumble's one of the best roaming mid lane champions that very rarely picked, because you dip into the river, chuck down an equalizer in a lane, you don't have to be there, you've already ganked the lane.
Yeah, you've done your job, you've just poked your head and said hello with a lot of damage there to make their life a little bit miserable. Well, let's kick off the festivities once again. We're back here for day number 2 of a brand new year, brand new season of the LCO. That's a chance to see another team brand new at that in action. It's PGG up against Kanga. Both 1-0, but Kanga didn't get to play their game yesterday. So let's see if nerves are on their side or will they be against them.
I've just thought about an idea that makes Yuumi more balanced. Get rid of her ability to latch on at level 1. Make it a choice. You choose to latch on, you can't use another ability.
Oh, it has to be a talented into point.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Why does she get to start with it for free?
I guess you would probably never take it then, because all you're giving them is a very small fraction of what?
You're giving them
Adaptive
nothing.
power?
Yeah. And then you can't press Q, and then you're actually useless for a whole level.
Yeah.
Just saying, that's a good way to do it.
Would be a massive change, hey?
Amen. Make it weak. Get rid of Yuumi. Delete Yuumi. Not many stances that I'll say publicly with all of my being, but that one, number 1 on the list.
Yeah, certainly is a specimen, that champion.
Yes.
It really is.
All right. Early start to this game, Schönfire going to be solo at red. Blue buff soloed by Mayfun, so both junglers hiding their start position, basically meaning both teams starting in lane bottom.
Oh, hang on a minute. That's an early exhaust, easy cleanse.
Wow.
Heals used as well. Very aggressive in the level 1
Wow.
mark. Ignite's come down. Cleanse already been burnt, so that's a lot of true damage that will stick. Both Eddie carries super low, chugging through potions. Super copying a few more autos.
Hooper's
a flash
dead.
is there for Violet. Hooper flashes first, denies that kill opportunity. They could still go for this one, but ultimately they've got all they need.
That was an absolutely insane start to the game. Hooper presses base like he wants to go back, and that's because the Nami has heal. They're going to sustain their way through this. Longsword, 3 potions for the Lucian compared to the Doran's Blade of Hooper. Sivir's out of the game. We're 2 minutes in, it's over. They chose to all in on site. And the repercussions have really hurt them through this early lane.
They have no summoners now, all 4 burnt, double flash available for Pentanet, and it's just an absolute catastrophe, to put it lightly. As you say, that lane is looking fairly doomed from the get-go.
And I get the idea, right? Because Yuumi has an extra summoner spell at all times for combat, right? Gets to go for the exhaust, ignite. There's a heal there for Hooper. So if they choose to trade with you, you can make that play. Fido, just press Q.
Yeah.
May. Ooh.
Thankfully, has his jungler just at that raptor camp there, so can just pop his head up. Schönfire with a nice vision planted earlier. Nice ward, rather. He's able to keep tabs as to where Mayfun is.
He's about to spot the Sejuani as well. So both junglers will spot each other. Mayfun half HP, no red buff means that he's in big trouble.
Certainly is in big trouble, waiting for the cooldown to jump across the wall. There's the flash to follow. The red buff is ticking. Chippies is keen to follow in hot pursuit. But they force out the flash. That's an easy red buff steal.
Yeah, it also isn't just the flash, it's the base that is required from the Sejuani, which means that red buff is his. Very interesting transaction, just in the way that it is thought out by Kanga across multiple fronts. Hooper looking to get his 2nd CS of the game, by the way. He's on 1 CS.
Level 1 to 3. It's a nightmare. Schönfire popping his head into
Schönfire
mid lane
back.
again. Look at the presence, the pressure. There is the dash away, there is the damage to follow. It's not going to be enough for lethal just yet, but it's another big chunk to force another member of Kanga back to base.
Yeah, and it's a teleport that has to be used by Fido. Maybe even a base that gets cancelled by Rumble with the harpoon that he throws out there. Wave in a fantastic spot for Dongi. And he gets the choice now, right? Do you want to push this wave in, crash it, and then recoil yourself with a much better teleport timer? And even potentially get a trade with the Azir so you have a health advantage prior? Or did you want to hold it as a freeze, right? Did you want to just reset and instead of teleporting, walk back? Mayfang going to try and find him before he gets the base off, but the wave's cleared.
They're in. That's a flash from Dongi, forced to run away. He saw that Schönfire had just gone back to base after picking up the Scuttler as well. So you'd imagine Fido screaming, I'm committing a TP here. We need to put some pressure, try and stabilize this for me, because right now we are hemorrhaging across the map.
That was nice by Mayfan to ensure that they get something for that. The gank from Schönfire, while not resulting in a kill, just put so much pressure towards the middle lane. And this game has started off in a very interesting way. If we want to talk about top lane being a big point of focus for Kanga, then why is their bot lane all-inning at level 1 and losing, right? Like, why is this happening? Why is Mayfan, upon seeing the Vi and seeing the health of the Vi, like, let's be very specific here, acknowledging that there is a person that he doesn't want to fight, seeing that person, walking towards that person and posturing in the river in a place that he can get caught. You know, these things, it feels like they are just not respecting what their opponents can do. And we know that PGG are aggressive. And look what happens.
Yeah.
Look at Hooper.
Look at bot lane. It is a nightmare
They're falling
right now.
on their own sword, Skimmy.
Yeah, they certainly are. Grenady carry player right now, you're crying. Or perhaps you're on the other end of the stick and thinking, well, I'm Violet right now, and I love situations like this when games can be flipped to like a solo queue match in this situation. Just shows how quickly things can get out of control.
It also shows, and I think it's really important, it shows how big of a deal decisions are, right? It's not just mechanics. Mechanics aren't everything. You try and make a play, you get backfired. If this dive is successful, level 6 Rumble, then Hooper is done for the rest of the game. He's a second support player.
So well built up. That's a 4-man start. They go for the bubble. It doesn't matter because he's locked underneath his own turret. The equalizer there as well. The kill goes across to Violet. That's what you love to see. Shinky is bleeding, blinking, and really praying for somebody to end his misery. Dongi picks it up for his great roam, and it is so much wave miss, so much farm loss, so many turret plates acquired. I mean, this gold lead is illegal at 6 minutes.
There's an unreasonably large minion wave that goes awry. 2 kills to be found by PGG. Clean dive, successful dive. You put yourself in between the turret and the wall. You're going to cop a bubble. Spell Shield's forced, and a Rumble Equalizer just quite simply has the perfect place to be. And unfortunately, you know, you don't want a position there. That in your mind is the safest space because it's the furthest point away from the Tribush. But that's also the easiest part for skill shots to hit. So they do fall victim to the aggressive play of Pensinet. And they are so far ahead now in that bot lane 2v2, and that is bled into mid and jungle as well.
Yeah, that Wrath is being felt elsewhere on the map, to say the least, right now. Illusion, that's ahead. That was already so far ahead, even without that kill contribution, is very happy with how things are playing out. No doubt Dongi also with a successful roam. And it's going to be such a long time, it feels like, until Kanga can look to try and mount their assault back to try and answer.
And Winterai, look at him, clears the wave, disappears. Enemy jungle this time, probably going to get a ward at the wolf camp, or see if he can find someone. Does. Gets a ward at the blue as it's about to spawn. Mayfan in shambles. He has no idea if Schönfire is here. Obviously, we know he's just in the area, but it's not a fight he wants to take. It's not like he's going to get support from his bot 2v2. The Lucian Nami are going to be there with authority and 4 summoner spells in the pocket. And here comes Appy.
Yeah, Appy's here to back him up. Violet doesn't need that support right now, so it's going to be a 2v1. Fido locked underneath his turret. He'd lose a minion wave if he came to this one. So it's just an absolute ruins right now. So much control.
Nothing short of a bloodbath, right? It's a complete shutout. So quickly into this game as well. It's so hard to find things to want to talk about on Kanga's side. No matter what you give them, what is it, like Fido's fighting evenly in mid and farm. Like, it's not doing anything because Dongi's roaming permanently and winning elsewhere.
Yeah. Spell Shield is good once again, but the harass is being felt down to 50%. Obviously very expensive for a Yuumi to use those heals.
They get cullinged under the turret. Dongi sits there with the equalizer to throw down as well. Look at Mayfan, gets his blue stolen, resets back to his blue buff.
He comes back to give protection to his bot lane, but realizes that Schönfire is literally stealing everything on the map right now. A double buff Vi, level 6 is there.
And I wouldn't be shocked if they dive bottom. Right, like Hooper wants to base. He just knows it's not safe. This is one of those games that is just over before it started. From the smallest decisions. You play a scaling bot lane into an aggressive Lucian Nami, lose level 1, the game's done.
It's one of those scrim game cultures where, you know, 15 minutes and you say, GG, go next.
Yeah,
Scrim
it
set's over.
genuinely feels that way. And it feels bad, you know, as a viewer to say that a game's over early, as a commentator to say that a game's over early, because you want to find hope and give reasons, and blue is probably the place that you'd have to look, right? Like, a Fiora farming in a skill matchup, but realistically, Chippies is farming evenly.
Yeah.
Blue hasn't done anything to try and find a massive lead. The Sejuani can't play towards sides. If he shows top, bot loses a turret.
Great trade, by the way,
So it's
right
all
there.
just blue.
Well, good Counter-Strike to answer back, however, though. So both going to find their moments. The challenge has been
Oh, the
set.
Ghost.
The Ghost is there to answer back. Perhaps a cheeky 1v1 goes in as only one Vital is tapped. Got our hopes up there for a second.
I mean, maybe there is a world that he ults before the stun comes across, right, and commits himself to the play, but takes the safe path. Dongi goes for the Merc Tread rush in mid lane as well, because he's a melee champion into Azir, who just incidentally hits you and the wave. The goal is to clear the wave as fast as possible, but also as healthily as possible. Merc Tread's nice for that and for roaming.
And it's the best time to be a Vi right now. You can go literally any lane you want, pop your head into any kind of quadrant of the jungle too, and know that this Sejuani will be far too afraid to take you on. And we'll have to sacrifice so much camp clear just to protect, just to basically anticipate where this Vi could be.
It's calm and measured matchup right now in top lane as well. The reason it's such a big skill matchup is riposte. It's always about riposte usage. It's one of the reasons that Aatrox can't exist against a Fiora main. Because if you hit W at any point in the lane, you've lost by default. That's not a skill expression, that's just you've used your W. Jax presses Counter-Strike, can reactivate it with a window, not at a set moment. So Fiora has to try and predict in the timing, which is why it's such a powerful skill matchup.
But so aesthetically pleasing when done well, to say the least.
It's like a proper counter in like a fighting game or something, you know? Like you've got certain frames that you have to predict, not time it.
Yeah, just watching back the footage when we had Worlds in China on the Super Server, watching a really good Fiora player there, and you just realize, I'll never be that good.
A little bit of JJ King.
It really is pleasing on the eyes as a viewer.
Have you seen the #1 Echo? I think he's like a 2.2k LP Echo player on the Super Server.
I have not, no.
He
What do they do?
never levels his ult until he needs it.
Oh, because they can snap
Top
it instantly.
fighting.
Here we are indeed, right? 2 Vitals tapped as Chippies finds the better end of the stick.
The reason is because you can't see where the ult goes. So you don't see the trail. So if you know where the trail is, they don't know where the trail is. Because he's an Echo main and knows what 4 seconds back is.
That's some foresight.
That's how crazy they are. So the first ult that he throws usually will hit for damage.
That's the tech, for sure. Oh, it's a sad day in the bot lane. 12 minutes on, and the story, understandably so, has not improved that much at all. Double to CS lead, another wave crashing, and another 4-man dive potentially threatened there. Poker head back into top
Blue.
lane, and Blue is so lucky.
Chippies could have actually one-hit him there, it feels like, with the Q if he threw that out, but, you know, riposte there. So the game continues, the dance continues. But Blue with no teleport means that he's just losing in this situation. Chippies gets a plate and a base. And at the same time, bot permanently losing. Jungle permanently in control of Schönfire. Very early item spike here of the Chainsword. And mid lane, equalized, yes, but Dongi's constantly got priority or freedom to roam if he wants to.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, this game doesn't scale better.
Oh!
Good flash.
Huge flash there from Doggy. I was just going to praise, I mean, Fido's not played badly, but it's just the fact that he's in this situation, the result of the burning fires fell elsewhere on the map.
I also even wonder if that was, like, it was a good flash from Dongi, to be fair, but Schönfire was at the Raptor camp. There's a world that they took the fight, you know? That's still something that we see with our God Vision as spectators. That's scary.
Yeah.
That was a scary play. If that was read by Pentanet. Here they go again. Rinse and repeat. They're standing on a ward. Mayfun ready to counter. Teleports up for Fido. Is basing right now, so he would have items. Hopefully the Mythic
Just
at
the
this
threatening,
point.
just that posturing is enough to say, I've got a Herald, we can dive you, that turret is dead for right. So that's a freebie. They can summon us in the mid lane with 30 seconds left before those plates fall on down. Perhaps threaten the fight if they so do desire. No, just going to summon it and acquire that free goal. And that's going to be 2 turrets in very quick succession.
And really, Pentanet just playing their game. They don't have to be so aggressive anymore. They've been given the luxury of playing at their own pace without having to force dives.
Look at this mid jungle. Unleashed can do literally no wrong. There it is, there's the ultimate, there is the response with the challenge being laid down, but only one tick of damage can be there and found. Mayfun jumps in with a cat in his hat. He says maybe we can do something here with the final chapter, but ultimately it's the Sejuani flashing back to their turret, but just too squishy. Not even a full item complete at this point, very early on in the game. And Chippy said it, they'll be aggressive, and they certainly are.
And that was Kanga with an extra Yuumi in the fight, right? The Lucian Nami not to be seen. They're just pushing mid lane, having a grand old time farming away. Items coming through left, right, and center for Violet and Nappy. And Pentanet successfully dived the top lane. Blue goes down. We watch the execution one more time. It's Jax hitting the stun before the riposte can be used, and the CC combo. Really nice. Just lock him down. You see the follow through here. The teleport comes in. We spoke about this potentially for the bot dive. Gets used top. But again, the cooldown's so low. This Vi has a completed mythic item. The team is just so strong. Compare that to the Sejuani behind in levels. No item done. Even fight, maybe that's a different outcome, but that was the expected result, all things considered.
It certainly was, and to really profit more so than anybody right now was just the fact that Violet and Appy can roam and do no wrong. They can go anywhere. They've already claimed bot lane. Mid has taken 2. Back to base they go, and they're well and truly working towards that second item complete at a very early point. Rapid fire cannon not too far away. And the game really is dead for rights. I mean, this is, as you mentioned very early on to this game, obviously a question of decision making, but I think it's also just a demonstration of experience. Look how much experience combined Pentanet have.
Absolutely, and calm under pressure, right? Like that's obviously going to be a big factor. You know that nerves are going to be there for Kanga. The weird thing about that is, like, if there are nerves, why did we all in level 1? Like, does that fix nerves? You know, like, is that a factor here? But I get that there is a summoner advantage in level 1. That can be a big factor. Sivir with Boomerang has pretty high base damage. But if you don't get the kill, you don't have the same sustain that a Nami can provide. And so you've made this decision that influences the whole map.
Nice leap away there, dropping turret aggro as Zappy does pop his head into top lane as well. Just to clear out some vision first and foremost, but also assist once again the Mog squad. They're here to back them up and basically just take down anybody. If you look at them, you stare at them, or you say something funny, you're going to fall victim to their pain. Equalizer goes out to trim their wave and prevent Kanga doing anything of the similar salt.
Yep. One of the best things about Rumble when he was picked as a top laner is, similar to Gangplank, his ability to use the ultimate from long range to clear if they try and pressure, and it becomes a cross map. And then it is a cross map because here comes Schönfire.
Ah, poor Blue. It goes from bad to worse right now. Knocked up by the tidal wave, and Schönfire slams him back down to reality. You're now 0-2. Welcome to the LCO there, Blue. And meanwhile, the AD carry just continues to siege.
An extremely harsh welcome for Kanga. And plummeting back to reality as they realize just how good some of their opponents can be if you make the smallest of errors. Chippy's threatening this inner turret to go down as well. Overstaying for the purpose of getting it. He knows there's no one coming to stop him. Very easy for him to get that work done. And we find ourselves at about 9,000 gold, 17 minutes in, and looking like Pentanet for their week 1 debut in this season. We're going to have 2 25-minute games if it continues on this path.
Not a bad day in the office, to say the least, mate. You've got a job to get done.
Yes, mate.
You've come in? Absolutely yes, mate. Come with a point to prove, an objective to state, and really, I suppose, a result to once again achieve, as you heard before, Chippies and Schönfire. A combination that has only known success in their time together. And promising signs so early on. I'm really excited by this sort of playstyle if we are to get games at this accelerated rate all the time.
It's almost like the identity of Pentanet hasn't changed, even though the players have drastically. You know, it's still at the heart and soul of the team is aggression. And speaking of aggression, Violet.
Here we go again. Beautiful ult once again there from Dongi. Going to lay down the red carpet to start off this fight. In they go. Final chapter to try and lock and place 3 members with that root. Doesn't matter because 2 members have already fallen on down from the side of Kanga. Now it's all about running away, and Blue, well, he is a lone straggler on the flank. Caught here by the counter-strike. Locked in place, an ult in his head. It does not matter because everybody's coming towards him. Thankfully, has a lot of movement speed and can dash away out of harm's way, but the pressure continues.
And so far, no signs of life to be seen, and it has been a shutout, which will continue. They'll push mid, good team fight. Threatening an inhibitor now, you would expect if they want to, but so early into the game with such low levels on the people that they have killed means death timers are going to be equally as low. So just a team fight into a reset. Another Radiant Virtue here for Schönfire. He's a big fan of this Vi build, it does seem. And it's a sad day to be a Sejuani. Fido.
Here we go, though. Oh, there's the flash. He wants to really commit that fight. They needed something. They need at least one kill, a silver lining, if you will, and they found a crucial shutdown.
They've been thrown the smallest bone possible just to sign a life, just a little bit of hopium.
I just like the pre-flash, even anticipating,
Yeah.
okay, you've got dash, Gale Force, and flash. What are you going to do?
You know that most of them are down, but you're not certain. We're just
Yeah.
going to guarantee this. We got the kill, nicely done. But really, it's just delaying what feels like an inevitable outcome for game number 1 of this LCO day. And it is 2 full items. It's going to be end change for Schönfire compared to Aegis. And there it is. I think, you know what? I don't mind that. Radiant Virtue Rush, just accept reality. I'm a support.
He's got his RV now. He's a happy camper.
Sivir can't go defensive items. There's no way to have any kind of luxury here. QSS is even too much. Stopwatch is too expensive. You need to just get Infinity Edge.
Oh, Violet's just saying, come get me. Glacial Prison goes wide. Tidal Wave goes up. Misses them all, dashing away. That really was a juicy bait target in the mid lane. Violet really putting his life on the line for the team there.
It's a nice idea. What can Blue do now? He's very much up a creek without a battle.
Gank's going to start. Riposte goes out nice and early, but has he done enough to run away? He certainly has. Rift Herald is still there, acting as a 6th member now in this team fight. Final chapter going to go completely wide. Headbutt goes off. Out goes this on battery, and down goes Fido. He had no flash, he had no mobility, he had no moves to run away. His team are going to follow him straight to the graveyard as they fall on down. 2 kills. Far too easy.
Yeah, Herald comes through, was going to guarantee the turret in 1 charge, and Kanga really do say maybe we can like look for a pick, but Appy flashed away. He was really the only one that was liable to fall. Hooper in big trouble. 1 quick combo there from Violet. Inhibitors to fall, probably 2 inhibs. They are just commanding the court.
Certainly does feel that way. It's the Australian Open up in this game, isn't it? This is not a 5-game banger. We're getting this one done very quick and easily. And at this point, really, you're just looking at a reset back to base, pick of a Baron and put a bow on it.
Very much the case. You would expect straight towards the Baron buff. I don't think you need to even consider the Mountain Drake. That's a luxury. You could just send Chippies over there if he's got teleport up, right? You can just take it for free. Take it solo. We'll see this fight one more time. Blue, he does get a nice riposte off, is able to buffer it with the Q. So there was no way for Schönfire to do anything about that one. The reinforcements do come through from the team. Obviously, they're nearby, but Appy flashing away. Charge comes through on the Herald, which means the turret falls, and there's no safe space here. The fact that they've left their inhibitor turret means they're too far out, and it was a matter of time until they were preyed upon by their respective opponents here.
The Azir turret already been burnt earlier on. Wasn't able to be utilized as a nullifying effect to some extent in that dive attempt.
On Vision. At the very least, on Vision. Mayfarn to steal is the only play here. There's no such thing as a team fight. There's a higher risk that you lose a team fight by even having 5 people here. It's just Mayfarn to steal. But it's the only play.
There's enough foresight here from the side of Pentanet to realize what is that win condition. It could be a blast cone, and it could be a bit of poke. It could be a single Hail Mary.
Big ups to Shinky, though, for staying on for the ride. If you're stealing this thing, I'm coming with you.
I'm coming for the ride, absolutely. I just think it's so meticulously well played there by Pentanet because, first of all, they poke you, they come at you from multiple angles, deny all the vision, but also say, you're just losing your base to super minions, so we have no threat. It's all the timing on you.
Yeah, it's calm, it's measured, it's pretty much controlled as well from top to toe. Yes, it's on Vision, but it doesn't matter. Like you mentioned, with the minions putting in work, Supers are currently hitting the Nexus turrets.
Chippy's going to feel the wrath, but can just literally dash away to a wall, so the Emperor's Divide does nothing. In they go for a cataclysmic event. 2 members fall on down. Dongi and Violet, the carries in this game, are certainly putting on a carries performance. They're getting it done for the boys right now. They're going to beat their record of yesterday and get this game dead and done. Fresh and early, 24 minutes in, and it was a stomp from start to finish. From minute number 1, only 1 kill found here by Kanga. What a way to start off their year.
I mean, fantastic week 1 from Pentanet.gg and a not so warm welcome to the LCO for this year for Kanga. They've been shown very quickly what the boot looks like, as they've been stuck under the boot of Pentanet for the entirety of that game, like you said, from level 1 onwards. Unfortunately for them, never close. We know that they're a young team, Kanga. They've got some potential in their players and their overall skill, but can't make a mistake against Pentanet.
Certainly can't. Bit of a divide on that one there, Mac, and well,
Yeah.
maybe a lot to digest.
The 5-minute game, huh?
Yeah.
I really felt that one when Mayfine lost his red buff and Sherney was just running at him. Oh, it just takes me back to when you ping and ask for help and you just don't get it. You're just like, well, there goes my jungle. There goes my game. You're playing 4v5. I can't do anything. And that was kind of the game, wasn't it, Kitty?
Yep, PGG has established that they are officially the rookie stompers of LCO, ruining both GZ and Kanga's dreams in week 1. And I only have one sentence to summarize that game. Shernfire and Dongi are literally living in Kanga's walls. It is a nightmare for them. And, you know, perfect game once again. I want to go in much more detail about how all these team fights played out, but